Happy New Year, happy 2025. Today I'm going to get on the ZX4RR and I'm going to explain to you why this is the year you need to hop on a bike and enjoy life to the fullest. So let's turn the key, fire it up. Got the Yoshi AT2. Sounds juicy as usual. And let's swing a leg over and we're going to talk about 2025. If you've been on the fence about buying a bike or riding a bike, learning how to ride, don't wait. This is the year you need to take action and swing a leg over two wheels. Should we listen with it? K-truck. That's pretty cool. Oh, was that a shrimp K-truck? Man, maybe 25 is the year I should get into K vehicles, imported JDM small vehicles with around 660 cc's of raw power. All right, so let's get into motorcycles though. That's why you guys are here. So many people on the fence. It's such a scary thing to like. Obviously, you're here because you may have a desire to ride, but it is one of the scariest things anyone can probably do. I guess I could say that's not like warfare or, I don't know, something as risky as that, or like racing. Racing cars is very dangerous. Racing motorbikes is very dangerous. But, like outside of racing, high performance vehicles, outside of combat, like riding motorcycles, at least in America, is a pretty dangerous adventure. But riding motorcycles, why do I do it? Well, it's hard to explain. It makes me feel alive first and foremost. Maybe I will do a U-turn here. I don't really want to go south. But riding motorcycles makes you feel alive, almost like how playing sports makes you feel alive, like working out makes you feel alive. Oh, it's just invigorating. It's the spring of life, riding motorcycles. It's up there with a good workout. It's up there with a good sport. It's up there with just like a really good time out with friends. It's hard to explain, but it makes you feel alive. And if you're looking for something to spice up your life, to take you out of the mundane, and to challenge yourself, because motorcycle is definitely a challenge. It's a learned skill. You're always learning on a bike, and it's hard to become a master, honestly, unless you're constantly practicing your skills at low speeds, if you're constantly practicing at high speeds, etc. Like it's a lifelong skill. It's like learning how to play golf. You're not going to master it in one day. All right, and that's what makes it so rewarding and fun to get on a bike. All right, as well as enjoying the environment. All right. So life is short, and riding a motorcycle, yeah, you might be saying, well, your life is going to be shorter if you ride a motorcycle, you're going to die. But you know, you can die doing anything. We're all going to die at some point. And riding a motorcycle brings a sort of joy to your life that it can't really be described unless you do it, or you try it, or you get on two wheels. All right. And riding is just somewhat, you guys know on my main channel, for my main job, I review cars. Like, I love cars, but cars have never made me feel like the same experiences of like riding a horse. Riding a motorcycle is really close to riding a horse. It's such an intimate relationship with the machine, and such a raw experience. Your senses are overwhelmed, and like a horse, like every bike has its own personality, and it's something you can really bond with. All right, it's hard for me the countless the hundreds, if not thousands of cars I've reviewed and driven in my life, it's hard for me to really bond with something on four wheels, because most of the cars nowadays, they've all been neutered with emissions regulations and safety regulations. They're all like essentially appliances on wheels. And I know, as I'm driving or riding behind a Honda Civic Si, like there are some out there that you get close to really getting your senses involved, but it's nothing can compare to riding a motorcycle. All right, so where do you start? Where do you start in your journey to riding motorcycles? Well, first of all, grab the book, Proficient Motorcycling. I've read that book like 2 or 3 times, and I still learn something new every time I read it. I think it's by David Ho or David Howe. It's a classic, and every person, novice or expert, should have at least read that book once in their life, because it's such a wealth of knowledge and experience, and it shows you the basics, the ropes of riding motorcycles, what you need to be aware of, from the basics like a clutch. And maybe hey guys, if you want to see a video like how to ride a motorcycle, I could do a serial, one of my favorite vehicles right there, LC 500 convertible. Anyways, if you want to see a tutorial on how to ride a motorcycle, let me know, because there are a lot of you guys that follow the channel that maybe you've never ridden before. Maybe you've come up from the car channel and you just like my content, so you want to see what Two Wheels is all about. But if you want to learn how to ride, just let me know. I could come out with like a series on how to ride a motorcycle. But getting yourself educated, because out here on a motorcycle on the streets, I mentioned warfare earlier. Obviously, it's not quite as dangerous as warfare, but for a civilian, you gotta be on your P's and Q's. You always have to be aware of what's going on to make sure you have the best chance at survival. All right. Now, if you're deadly scared of riding a motorcycle, practice helps. It helps overcome your fears. Your confidence, master your skills will help, but it's never a good idea to ride scared, or just about anything scared is not a good thing. Read through Proficient Motorcycling, and maybe 1A, 1B would be sign up for an MSF course, your local MSF, motorcycle safety course. That's what I did, and once you pass that, very few people, unless you have really extensive experience off-road on motorcycles previously, or you've been riding around without a license, most people don't ace the MSF course. You can do really well in the written test, but like the drills that you have that they put you through is really going to test you. The bike I was on was a Yamaha V-Star. It's a little V-twin 250, and I did not like that bike. It just didn't feel natural turning it. It didn't feel natural positioning to me. The bike had a lot of charm, but I had a Ninja 250 waiting for me. All right, and so yeah, the Ninja, and I'll talk about like starter bikes here in a little bit, but yeah, MSF course, do your studying, be prepared for it, be confident. Most of the bikes there are very beginner friendly, and unless you're really, really small, maybe like if you are really small, maybe you need to hit the weight room, because you got to manipulate these heavy machines at low speeds. Once they're up to speed, they're super easy to maneuver, especially this bike. Like this bike it feels like it's always on rails. It's so planted and so confidence inspiring. That's something the MT-09 that I had before this, it didn't feel as locked in and glued on the road for me. All right, but yeah, rest in peace MT-09. Step 2, I guess, is your starter bike. What's it going to be? Most people, if you're very confident, and let's say you did really well on your MSF course, yeah, maybe go buy a brand new bike. But most people are going to recommend you buy a used bike, and something cheap, because you're going to, there's a good chance, right? There's a really good chance that you could drop your bike. And dropping your bike means laying it down on the pavement. Most people will do it at like in parking lots or their garage or something like that, parking the motorcycle. And yes, you can low side in a turn or even high side, but that's not as common as what you see and just like maneuvering it, walking the bike around. All right, so learning the bike's weight and all that comes over time, and maybe you should hit the weight room if you're a smaller person. And that's like another tip of buying a new bike or a beginner bike is start with something light. If you're worried about the weight, or if you're a smaller person, buy something light. A Honda Grom, that bike has its limitations. My other bike is a Honda Grom, but if you're really like worried about, I don't know, if you're worried about the heft of the bike or the seat height, start with something like a mini moto, like a Honda Grom. It's a good place to learn clutch control, a good place to learn balance, good place to get your feet wet and learn safety. Yeah, most people, if they only have one bike, they move on from the Honda Grom really, really quickly, or move on from a mini moto in general. It doesn't have to be a Honda Grom. It could be the Papio. Oh, that guy gave me a thumbs up. It could be a Papio SS, whatever. A Honda Monkey, that's probably my favorite mini moto. But those are all good places to start. But in today's day and age, you're just so lucky. You can find used starter bikes, and a lot of the time, sometimes it's not worth buying used because the used market prices can be really high. So maybe you go and get a brand new bike. I'm not against it. I would just say, hey, make sure the bike feels right for you. Sit on it at the dealership, move it between your legs, make sure you're confident and it feels right. That's something with the MT-09, like the look, like you got to get I guess I can move on past that. It's like, get something that's lightweight, something that doesn't have a lot of power, and something you're comfortable with. Okay, anything over like 50 horsepower in general maybe is not the best beginner bike. So that's why, like, watch my video on the best bikes under $6,000. There's just so many. They're all incredible for the most part. There's some really bad buys in there, like Suzuki, or was it a Yamaha 250 or W250? I forget exactly. That's a Kawasaki, I think. The W250. It's a terrible buy, and you're better off with so many other bikes. But get the style that works for you. I did naked. I like naked bikes, but the MT-09, I owned it, and it was a mistake. I fully own that. That bike wasn't the right bike for me. A fully faired bike, I love the looks of sport bikes. I love how they perform. I love how the suspension feels on them. And this one has raised handlebars from the factory, the ZX4RR. So it's just a really, really good bike for me. And honestly, it's probably a good bike for most beginners, because in the United States, it's neutered to about 55 horsepower until you get the Flash. And then and then you get the full 77 horsepower that you can play with. And to me, 77 horsepower is plenty enough. My last bike had like 117 horsepower, and it's just overkill, complete overkill. And once you get past triple digit speeds on a naked bike, it's just brutal with the wind. This bike, I can cruise all day long at like 70 miles an hour with the aerodynamic efficiencies of it. All right, so another thing is something to consider: insurance. Don't buy a bike until you look at insurance rates, because it's going to vary a lot. A sport bike's insurance is always going to be probably the most, because, should we go to Sanibel? I don't know, maybe I probably won't go over the bridge because you have to pay a toll. Insurance played a role in me buying this bike. I was considering this and a ZX6R. And ZX6R, I made a video on this. It's a better buy in terms of like horsepower per dollar. I didn't want something that would just get me into too much trouble, or I could, that thing has like 120, 130 horsepower. It's impossible to use it on a daily basis on the streets. Sorry, it's a track bike, it's a race bike. This is too, but this is also like the perfect power for the streets. And it doesn't ever feel dangerous. I always feel like I'm in full control of it over this bike and its performance. I just realized that this is not going to take me to Sanibel. It's Sanibel Boulevard. I actually don't know this area of Southwest Florida that well. This is just going to take me to shopping plazas or something because there's really, this doesn't take me to Sanibel. All right, let's see where it does take me. Noise. The Q50 Red Sport there has a Noise license plate. I honestly have no idea where this is going to take us. Okay, well there's a Publix, but Publix are everywhere in Florida. Alright, another reason you get a motorcycle is to avoid speed bumps. I absolutely hate speed bumps. Yeah, this doesn't go anywhere except maybe behind a Publix. I guess that's one of the other good things about motorcycling. If you guys like exploring, you like being out and about. Okay, is this, I don't know if they're gonna see me. There we go. Just making sure because they have a stop sign, but hey, there's been times where I can't see scooters or motorcycles because the A-pillar is just too big. Okay, a very Florida thing, garage back here. So we're not gonna go to the garage. Let's maybe wrap around the Publix. I can't believe I forgot this thing too, but like motorcycling gives you an amazing opportunity to enter into a really awesome community. Regardless of what type of bike you get into. You know, back in the day, if you didn't ride a cruiser, maybe there would be some art of, like if you showed up at Sturgis and you were on a sport bike like 40 years ago, maybe you would be beat up or ridiculed. But like nowadays, most motorcyclists all treat each other as brothers. And so you're gonna have a very supportive community if you ride. All right, if you want one. Some people just want to ride solo, and that's okay too. But I got a couple buddies that ride, and yeah, riding with buddies, it's like hanging out with the crew. All right, so it gives you an opportunity, social opportunity to really to grow, meet new people, and experience life on a different level. Okay, so if you're going through some shit, riding a motorcycle clears your head. You can't really focus on anything other than motorcycling when you're riding. It's hard to, and it's a little bit dangerous too. And here I am moto vlogging, so I'm not the best example. Yeah, if you're going through some tough times, you're gonna have a lot of people to potentially brighten up your life and just give you something outside of yourself that maybe you don't currently have. So I think that's about everything I've wanted to say. I mean, life is short, and riding brings so much joy into my life, and I know it brings, regardless of what you ride, it can be a freaking scooter, it can be a 2000cc V-twin cruiser. Regardless of what it is, like, riding brings so much joy to people who love riding. And if you've always wanted to ride, hey, today's the day. Today's the day to buy Proficient Motorcycling. Today's the day you research local MSF courses and you sign up. It's not expensive. Think of it as an investment in yourself, an investment in your future, an investment in your joy. I try to ride almost every other day. I mean, I got a bunch of kids, so ride, and I travel a lot for my car job. So I mean, I try to ride as often as possible. But anytime I get to ride, it's just honestly like, it's so liberating. It just makes me so, even if it's in traffic, like that's the thing. Riding in traffic kind of sucks, but it's still better than not riding. You know, this is kind of like the busy time of year for me down here in Florida. Like, come on, Sonata. And so, yeah, riding in traffic, there's nothing fun about it. And if you want to explore your area, doing it on a motorcycle is the best way to do it. It's just so fun. There's nothing more liberating, I would say. All right, at least on the streets. And like, if you want a dual sport, like that, I'm highly considering getting a dual sport. All right, I don't know if my wife would be crazy about me buying another motorcycle, but a dual sport would be so much fun because you can take the exploration off the beaten path. You can go power line roads. You can see where a random dirt or gravel path might take you, and leave the confines and rules of the street and explore, see nature. All right, dual sports, dirt bikes, all of it. Riding is just, it's such a, in America, hardly anyone rides for practicality. Cars are cheaper, typically cars are cheaper to insure. Sports cars are not, though. Sports, that's a thing. Like, if you're a car enthusiast, a motorcycle gives you so much more return on investment compared to something like in anything on four wheels. I'll say that in my experience anyway. So yeah, do yourself a favor, buy that book, sign up for a course, and start looking for a motorcycle. You can buy a motorcycle before you even take the course. It's okay. I did that with my Ninja 250. Excuse me, back in like 2012, something like that is when I bought my first bike. I took a 10-year hiatus, and it was hard. But once I got my life straight, got my finances worked out, became a little bit more of a responsible individual, motorcycling, I had to get back to it. And now it's something I want to do the rest of my life. And I want to do it not just here. I want to cycle everywhere. I want to cycle the mountains. I want to cycle in other countries. That just sounds so fun to me. And I actually learned how to ride a motorcycle in the mountains of Thailand, and I was hooked. I couldn't shake it from there. So anyways, I thank you guys so much for watching. Ride safe out there. Let me know if you have any questions about getting into motorcycling. I'm sure there's a ton of like untouched topics I could dive into about getting your first bike or safety or whatever else. It's just kind of dusted over a lot of stuff today. But yeah, guys, life is short, and get on two wheels. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and peace out.